Good evening. I'll be right back. Forgot my timer. Sorry, I should have done this already. I was otherwise occupied. So all these people all over the world get to watch me on YouTube play with my phone. Setting my timer. Okay, I'm ready now. Verse of the Kesa. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Tathagata's teaching, freeing all creations. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Tathagata's teaching, freeing all creations. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Tathagata's teaching, freeing all creations. Gata of Atonement. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all. Fragrance of this incense invites the awakened mind to be present with us now. The fragrance of this incense fills our sacred space, protects and guards our minds from wrong thinking. Fragrance of this incense unites us with precepts, concentration, and insight. We offer it for all beings. Homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I shall become one with the Buddha. I resolve that I shall each day follow the way of life he laid down for us to walk and awaken to his supreme wisdom. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I shall become one with the Dharma. The gates of Dharma are manifold. I vow to enter them all. The goal of wisdom is ever beyond. I shall attain it. I go to the Sangha for guidance. I shall become one with the Sangha in the spirit of universal fellowship, and as a member of the Sangha, I pledge myself to strive for the enlightenment of all beings. The Metta Sutta. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing in gladness and in safety may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upward to the skies and downward to the depths, outward and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, sitting or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into the world of suffering. May I be happy and well. May no harm come to me. May I learn compassion. May all my friends, family, and those I love be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all those troubled in body, mind, and spirit be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all those who have hurt me in body, mind, and spirit be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all those I have hurt in body, mind, and spirit be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all my enemies be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all living beings be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. Setting the timer for 10 minutes, so if you're meditating at home and you want to mute your sound rather than listen to guidance, set your timer for 10 minutes. And I'm going to do a Metta Bhavana meditation tonight. So, just so you know. As the bell fades, take a few deep breaths. Exhale completely. Inhale completely. And then just let your breath settle down and breathe in a relaxed manner. And bring your attention to the center of your chest, to your heart. And as you exhale, just let this phrase ride silently on your breath. May I be happy. May I be free from animosity. May I be free from stress and affliction. May I look after myself with ease. And remember, this isn't a happiness we have to strive for at some point in the future. Really mean right now, opening up to that happiness that comes from within, found in the present moment. And if you feel that sensation of warmth and joy, or however you feel it arise, just try to sustain that. If it falls away, that's okay. Just stick with the intentions anyway. And call to mind a loved one. Envision them with you or close to you, and you can think of their name or just picture them. And as you breathe out, imagine that you extend your goodwill for them, your metta for them, as a warmth or as a light, or just imagine this thought, touching them with the thought, may they be happy. May they be happy. And call to mind a friend and send them the same thought. May they be happy. And think of a neutral person, an acquaintance. Maybe you don't know them too well, or maybe you just don't feel one way or the other toward them. Hold them in your heart. May they be happy. And take a moment to extend goodwill to someone that you're not getting along with, or someone who annoys you, someone at least a little adversarial. May they be happy. And finally, may all beings be happy. And imagine radiating that thought in all directions. Where you can think of different kinds of beings, beings that fly or crawl or swim and so on. And send them that thought. May all beings be happy. And bring your attention back to your heart. Feel that warmth there. It's available anytime you need it. The more you use it, the more you have. Evening, everyone. Glad you're here. Can y'all hear the timer okay? The bell and the timer? I know you don't even hear my question until a couple minutes after I've asked it, and then it takes a while to answer it. But just at some point, tell me if you can't. So, okay, good. I wasn't sure. So it has been almost a year since things started to shut down. I know this because my team at Stetson, somebody said, "Hey, should we have a memorial or something to acknowledge the end of this first year, or hopefully first of last year, but the fact that it's been a year since things started changing." And so we're planning to memorialize this in some way or another. And so I've been kind of thinking about that, but then it occurred to me tonight or today, as I was thinking about what I was going to say tonight, that things are going to change again, and so we need to maybe think about what that's going to look like, and maybe we should have some sort of a service acknowledging the beginning of this era that we're in, the passage of this time, the things that we've done, experiences that we've had, things like that. I'm not sure what that should look like, so that's why I'm mentioning it to y'all. I mean, I know what we're going to probably do at Stetson, but it wouldn't work for us because we're scattered all over the place. But give that some thought. And if you have any ideas, or if there's anything that you think, I mean, I could just give a Dharma talk about it. I think the date, I think it's like the 13th is sort of when everything changed here, when shutdown orders went into place and, students were sent home and all of that kind of thing. So I can't remember what the last date was that we had a service at the UU Church. So the other thing about this is that I haven't heard anything from the church here about when they're going to resume services or if they're going to resume services. And I haven't really, we could have gone in some time ago on Wednesday nights, but in a severely restricted and altered form. So decided not to, and decided just to keep doing virtual services. So I don't know. I know there are a number of people who are elsewhere who are watching these regularly. I know this because I get emails and stuff. Oh, it's okay. You can come back and watch the beginning later. I appreciate you too, Nina. So anyway, I'm not real sure what form the what form we should take in the future, and anyway, so communicate with me. I mean, in chat here is not a good way to do it, but you can email me if anybody wants to have a conversation on Zoom or something like that. Let me know. We can do that because I'm very interested in hearing kind of where you'd like to go with your practice and with Volusia Buddhist Fellowship. And, we have other senseis out there who haven't really had a chance to do much because, this format. So, um, I don't know, anyway. So, the times they are changing, as the song says. Not yet, but, but it will. And so it'd be kind of nice to have that in mind. So, people like me, Dharma teachers who have attained a certain level of credentialing and received certain, recognitions and stuff, are really not supposed to write Dharma talks. Probably a lot of you don't know this, but we're really not supposed to. Or in some circles, it's really frowned upon because, the Dharma. What do you need to prepare, right? So, but it's hard, and I think in this virtual format to not have some idea what you're going to talk about, even at least outline some thoughts and stuff. And so when we started doing these, when we were in DeLand or when we were at the church, I would come up with a reading, I'd send it to you, and then I would read the reading to you, and then I would unpack it. Or take off from it. And so preparation was really minimal. And when we started doing these, that this format really didn't lend itself to that as much because you're not here to ask questions and stuff like that. So, so basically what I did, I don't have time to write a new Dharma talk like 2 or 3 times a week, which is how often, I'm doing virtual services. And so I started going through stuff that I had written for the UU. So, some settings like in a Unitarian Universalist church service, you have to fit whatever you're going to say in a set period of time. And so, you want the 20 minutes that they give you to be nice and tight. And so you have to plan that. And then also at White Sands, the translator was saying, I can't keep up with you when you give a Dharma talk. Is there any way you can send me what you're going to say before so that I can plan the translation? And so I've been writing Dharma talks for a long time. And, sometimes I'd give the same Dharma talk twice in the same week. So, a little tweaking and massaging here and there from one place to the other, from one audience to the next and stuff like that. And the same outline would work, So when this happened, I started reusing a lot of these Dharma talks that I'd given, or at least the outlines, the general idea, reworking them, freshening them up, stuff. I have run out. and they have, some of the talks that I've given have been fresh anyway, but everything that I've given for like years leading up to the close down, all of the prepared sermons, I've reused, rehashed some of them twice. I shouldn't admit this probably, but there's ideas that you can present in different forms, right? So now I'm trying to figure out like what to do with these Wednesday nights that's different than what I do with Sunday morning, and that's different with what I do on Thursday night. So I mentioned that because I want whatever's going on here to be useful to you, right? So if there are things you like, things you don't like, things you'd like to know, like to see, whatever, let me know. Because I can write stuff that I think it would be interesting to write, or outline stuff that I think it would be interesting to talk about. or whatever. I don't have to handwrite everything, but and and that would be entertaining to me. But the difficulty with this format is because I'm not having a lot of face-to-face conversations with anybody. Um, I don't know what's useful to you, and it's a lot more not interesting. It's a lot more purposeful if I'm kind of meeting your spiritual needs than trying to meet mine. Right? Try to write what I think is interesting. So I've had some thoughts about that. I mean, we can start delving into different teachings and stuff like that. It can go back to something kind of like what we did on Wednesday nights. But I'd, I'd like to hear your thoughts or read your thoughts when you have a chance. So the other thing I wanted to tell you about tonight is that, you know, a year ago, when things started changing, I started looking and going, okay, what can I do for me? Because part of my practice is, what can I do for you, right? Or what can I do for people who want to hear the Dharma? So what usually happens, Janet, is that people give Dharma talks and someone records them and transcribes them, and then that gets published. So, like if you look at Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh's books, um, they're all just kind of edited down Dharma talks, and then you get people like right now I'm reading Maizumi, and so there's some books by him and Bernie Glassman. That's kind of the way they're edited. So what it really was is Maizumi Roshi would give Dharma talks. So for one thing, these guys who give Dharma talks at Zen centers, they're an hour long sometimes, and they ramble all over the place. And a lot of the time, they're talking based on things that have come up during one-on-one conversations. So you during a retreat, you give Dokusan, and so you're hearing people, and so you're kind of responding based on the vibe of the community during that period of time. Um, and so you can kind of go from topic to topic. Well, that's interesting to hear in the context of the retreat that it's given, and it's not so interesting to read. And so there's, in a lot of cases, there's people who edit those things down, and turn them into something that's more cohesive, like essay sort of thing. And then they'll publish those. So all of the books by Taizan Maizumi, and Maizumi and Glassman, stuff like that, usually created that way. Pema Chodron, I think she actually writes. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, we can do that. We can meditate more. So now, answer this though. When we sit, do you want it always guided? I started out when we first started doing this, I started to just, because when we were meeting at the church, I was doing guided meditations twice a month. The rest of the time it's just silent. And then I'm sitting here getting ready to ring the bell for a silent meditation, going, that doesn't make much sense on YouTube to just have 20 minutes of people looking at me, or, or the candle or whatever. So I've just been doing shorter guided meditations. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I could start with some instruction and then silence after that. Especially with like breath meditation and things like that. Or you can always do the guardians. So contemplating the Buddha, metta, mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of impermanence. those four things guard the mind, and that guide through that, and then leave you with the breath for a period of time or whatever. And that would not be a bad idea. I wish that I had a camera person here who could and multiple cameras so that for, so that when I wasn't talking, you could just kind of like have the candle flame flickering on the screen or something. That won't work. So, but yeah, I could try that. See how that feels. I'm open to suggestions. Um, I was starting to talk about something and I got completely lost. Oh yeah. So I was the other part of my practice is, my own development, right? So, what do I do to sustain my practice? And I'll tell you, I hear this so much where people say, "Oh, my concentration's been terrible," or dealing with anxiety that they hadn't had to deal with, or depression, all these things because of the circumstances that we're in. And so, of course, that's going to impact your meditation. And I felt it too. Everything has changed, and God, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, and there's all this background noise of freaking out and stuff. And so, sure, I do things for my own practice. I think one should never stop seeking teachings. Um, and so, one of the things that I did was, and I've mentioned this to some of you, was I reached out to Zen peacemakers and started going to some of their events and stuff, the online events, and to partly to see how they work, what they do and how they do it, um, and so that see if there's anything that I could try. That's okay. You don't need to apologize. You get here when you get here. The nice thing about this is I don't know you're late. I don't know who's here and who's not, right? And if you show up, you don't slam the door, or whatever. Anyway, that's fine. You get here when you can get here. And about probably 3/4 of the people who watch these things actually watch them afterward. They don't watch them live. So if you go back and look at some of them, you'll see like right now we got 14 people on tonight, which is pretty good. That's more than usual, I think. But if you come back to it a week from now and look, you'll probably see 30 or 40 have looked at it. Anyway, so I started thinking about um, how to apply some of what I was getting from being involved with Zen Peacemakers International, and so this, I there's a community organization called Volusia Remembers that uh, their their purpose is to memorialize sites where racial terror lynchings took place in Volusia County. And my team at Stetson, not my team, but the team that I'm on at Stetson, the Office of Religious and Spiritual Life, was looking for ways to kind of support what they do. And because, um, and Black Lives Matter happened about the same time that COVID happened, a little bit before, but there's a lot of overlap there, and so there's a lot of stuff going on. This is a really interesting time. We're going to look back at this period and go, oh, that's when all these things changed. Hopefully for the better, but a lot, everything, everything changes. The law of impermanence. The one of the seals of the Dharma, the first seal of the Dharma is everything changes. Sometimes a lot of stuff changes all at once, and this is one of those times. Anyway, so we were looking at how to support Volusia Remembers, And at the same time, thought, well, I was talking to Zen peacemakers, and I thought, we can maybe combine these two ideas because they do these bearing witness things, where you really bear witness to the suffering of the world in a very real way. And so, they do things like go to Auschwitz. So that's probably the famous one, but they've also spent retreats living on the streets in New York City, you know, and stuff like that. And going to the Black Hills, where these massacres happened with Native Americans and so on. So, long story short, we ended up. They did a 3-day bearing witness retreat, virtual. They call them a plunge into race in America. And Volusia Remembers was kind of the main thing that happened on the second day of that. And was probably, in terms of actually getting face to face, not like in reality, but in terms of experiencing something real and tangible, and people who were affected and all of that. What Volusia Remembers did as part of that process was I'd say probably the centerpiece of the whole 3 days in some ways, because it was the thing where we really got in a position to confront and experience, the racial injustice in this country. So there was a soil collection ceremony. We actually went out. There's a place where a fellow was murdered. He was a taxi driver. This was in 1939, and he was a black man. He was a World War I veteran. Had come back to Daytona Beach, had gone into business driving a cab, was well thought of, treasure to his community. And a young white boy, 10-year-old white boy on a bicycle, came out of a side street or parking lot or something like that, right in front of him. He hit him in his taxi cab, and the boy died. And so this man, Lee Snell, waited there till the police arrived. Well, the police arrested him and took him to the police station at Daytona Beach. And a mob started to congregate there. And so they were saying, well, it's not safe for him here. We're going to take him to DeLand, where they can hold him at the courthouse. DeLand is the county. To those of you who are not in Volusia County, DeLand is the county seat of Volusia County. And so back in those days, there was a 2-lane brick road from Daytona Beach to DeLand. And there's still pieces of this. If you go up to where the Tiger Bay State Forest is, and there's places where you can pull in, like if you're going into the state forest recreation areas and stuff like that, and you can actually see stretches of this road as it looked, in the 1930s. Anyway, so they were bringing him out of Daytona, and a car driven by this boy's brothers cut off the police car, intercepted it. And the police told him to get out and run. And so he got out and ran, and they shot him because he got out and ran, and they shot him several times and killed him. And so the place where it happened is right behind the Volusia Educators Building, which is the kind of the headquarters of the Volusia County Teachers Union. And so they went out of this ditch back there where it happened, dug up soil. And so the thing is that Volusia Remembers is part of, or is has an affiliation with the Equal Justice Initiative, which is in Montgomery, Alabama, and has a big museum and memorial there to, so the civil rights movement and so on. And so there's a place there where they're actually collecting uh, mason jars, big mason jars, full of soil collected from these lynching sites with the name of the person who was lynched on them. And so they we couldn't do this whole ceremony outdoors. We could have, but it would have been very difficult. And so they took up a big wash tub of the dirt, and it was on the like on a table on the dais. And there was a lot of speakers and stuff like that. The whole ceremony took an hour and a half, but the most profound thing was this line of people coming up and taking a hand trowel and taking out a scoop of this soil that came from where this man was murdered and put it in these mason jars. One of them is going to be kept here and put on display somewhere, and the other goes to Montgomery, Alabama, to be put on display with all these others at the museum and memorial there. And it was so profound seeing this and the intimacy of taking this soil. And I actually was there to see and take pictures and stuff of the digging up part, and then was there for the whole ceremony. The intimacy of that was amazing, So I'm reading a lot of Maizumi, and Maizumi's talking about, how the whole purpose of Zen is to live your life, So we think of Buddhism as something that, we got to do a bunch of practices and then we get something. No, no, no. Your life, if you're living it as a practice, is the embodiment of the Buddha way, And so doing this was such an incredible experience of that. Just beautiful. So, and one of the most amazing things I have ever seen happen in this event, which the whole reason I'm telling you this tonight is because this incredible thing happened. It's not going to sound like much when I tell you about it, but I can tell you that being there was amazing. So there were a number of people who came in to talk, and most of them were like county commissioners and mayors and stuff like that. And they said the predictable stuff, it was good stuff. I mean, I'm not knocking them. Everybody said some heartfelt things, but, and then the sheriff of Volusia County got up, Mike Chitwood. And, he's in a lot of ways, I think, maybe a kind of typical Southern sheriff. I don't know. He seems like a nice enough guy. I don't really know his politics that much, but anyway, this was after the soil collection, after the story had been told about the murder and all of that. He got up to talk, and he didn't talk for very long. But he said, law enforcement failed that man. And he said, I want to apologize on behalf of law enforcement because law enforcement failed that man. And even telling you that now, and I don't know, maybe you had to be there. I don't know how it's affecting you to hear that, but it sent chills up my spine. And so because I was part of organizing the relationship between the soil collection ceremony and this 3-day bearing witness retreat, I was on the WhatsApp group, with all of the leadership and tech people, and everything was in Peacemakers. And my phone just blew up when that happened. Everybody's like, did you know he was going to say this? Everybody was just so impressed that he got up and said, because the purpose of, what they try to accomplish with these bearing witness retreats is reconciliation, and healing. And healing and reconciliation happens because we accept what has happened and we take responsibility for the karma involved there. You know, first step has got to be accept what has happened. And so this is true when we're dealing with our own lives, even more true when we're dealing with our own lives. First step in transformation is to accept where you are. So for him to accept that and then say, we need to make sure this doesn't happen again. It was so powerful, I thought, and he didn't say it like, it wasn't, he probably had thought about it and all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't like somebody wrote this speech for him and, okay, well, here's the right thing to say. I mean, you could tell he felt it. So anyway, it was amazing. So I don't know how Volusia Buddhist Fellowship can do more of that kind of thing. That particular. I mean, I think there's probably ways that we could support Volusia Remembers to some extent, somehow. I'm not sure what that would look like. ZPI is not going to do, retreats every weekend or anything like that to do with this. So it was kind of a one shot deal to this happening this particular way. I'll tell you, the only reason it happened was because of COVID. And something would have happened, something else would have happened. But this particular thing at that particular moment happened because we were all in this situation where the only way we could get together was the way we're together now. And because of the way our lives are in this weird era, we're open to these kinds of things. And we want to communicate with each other, even if that means communicating over vast spaces. I mean, there were people from Zen Peacemakers from all over the world at that retreat. And they were here with us in Volusia County listening to our sheriff say that, in that way. So anyway, I thought it was a very important and powerful experience for me personally. I wanted to share it with you. And oh yeah, Janet was there. That's right. She signed up. She did that. I saw you there. I was looking around to see who was there, and you were there. So, yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much what I had on my mind tonight. And I promise you next week will be a little bit more of a traditional Dharma talk. But in the meantime, please feel free to communicate with me what you think would be useful to you. And I will see you tomorrow on Zoom if you're there. And I'll be back at White Sands Sunday morning. Sunday morning, I'm going to talk about the mind and the soul. I got a text message from Michelle about probably 11:45 Sunday morning because I was just getting ready to log into the Zen Peacemakers retreat, which actually I was between the leadership team meeting and the start of the retreat. So somewhere between 11:30 and 11:45, and I get this text message from Michelle that says, "Sensei, can you tell us what the difference is between the soul and the mind? We're struggling to define those." And I said, "I will make it my Dharma talk next Sunday." So it's a fascinating conversation. I think it's a fascinating topic. So hopefully it'll be a fascinating conversation. So I will see you there, or you will see me live stream on YouTube. Anyway, thank you for being here tonight. I hope you have a good night. I didn't say the parting prayer before I started talking, so we will do that now. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, existing right here now, and offering candles and incense, hearing the Dharma and training the mind. Great merit is attained. We dedicate this merit to the great Master Shakyamuni Buddha, the all-pervading and everlasting three treasures, to the 16 guardians and all protectors of the Dharma, their relations throughout space and time, to all ancestors of the Sangha, all beings in the Dharma world. May penetrating light dispel the darkness of ignorance. Let all karma be resolved and the mind flower bloom in eternal spring. May the Dharma body maintain strength and health, and years of life be lengthened for all teachers of this Sangha. May their vows be fully realized, and may they live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma. We pray for those suffering from violence and those who grieve for them, for those living in oppression, for all who are imprisoned who should be free, for all refugees from violence, hunger, and catastrophe, man-made or natural. We pray for the health and well-being of those suffering from diseases of body, mind, or spirit, and those working toward the healing of those afflictions. We pray for those suffering from COVID-19, those working to protect and treat them, and those grieving for those lost to this pandemic. May they be serene through all their troubles, and may we realize the enlightened way together. Sabe sata sadahantu avera sukajivino katang punya phalang mayang sabe bhagi bhavantu te. May all beings always live happily, free from animosity. May all share in the blessings that spring from the good we have done. Yeah, finish that thought tomorrow, Ellen, because I'm curious what that typo was supposed to say. Anyway, yep. Thank you all for being here, and I will see you soon. Oh, Nina, how is Thursday different? So Thursday's on Zoom, and it's Zoom allows it to be a lot more conversational. So I hope you're getting the meeting notices. You must be. So click the Zoom link. Yeah, how is Thursday different from Wednesday? That's what you mean, right? So, so basically, we're taking some verses of the Dhammapada right now. It'll be something else later. Reading them, telling you the backstory, unpacking them, and there's plenty of time for interaction. Question. I won't even call it question and answer. It has evolved into really kind of a nice discussion of the Dharma. So it's not real formal like this. It's less formal. Come. You'll like it. There's plenty of room. We can accommodate 100 people in our Zoom room. So come on down. Okay, well, or do that. All right. Anyway, thank you so much, and I will see you soon.